today. We're kind of going to show you how we do our foam core panels. There are different ways, and obviously, you know, check with the pros, but this is kind of how we do it, and we figured it's a good opportunity to show you. Cassie can record everything. I'm going to try to just do this little panel by myself. This is a floor panel for the front of our 25-foot cat. This goes in the berth area, and yeah, it's just a nice small panel. It shouldn't take about 2 quarts of resin, I'm figuring, and yeah, we'll kind of give you a quick go down how we do it.
And why are we doing this?
Why are we doing what?
Why are we doing a how-to?
Not really a how-to, more just like how we do. I don't want it to be an educational thing. Use it, you know, take it with a grain of salt. Definitely consult the pros. When we were doing the research for our boat and we wanted to use the foam core, we couldn't find very little material, especially on YouTube and stuff, which is where we do a lot of research on anybody doing a foam core. You know, there are some people that do minimal foam core stuff, but they don't really show like how they resin, how they do everything. So we're just going to kind of run you through some quick tips and tricks that we've learned along the way that make our life a little bit easier, and kind of show you guys that it's not really that hard. It's just a little time consuming, if anything. All right, so we're using TotalBoat. We've used TotalBoat for our whole project so far. They've been phenomenal, helpful customer service, all that. Check them out. If you guys do order anything, use code Dauntless on TotalBoat.com. You get 15% off your first time use. Yeah. So we're using 2-to-1 epoxy resin. We're using a slow hardener today, just to give us a little bit more open working time. Our temperature right now is right around 60 degrees, so we're just on the limit of the slow hardener, but we should be fine. I can kick the heaters on once we're done, just to warm it up a little bit more.
And you're doing how many ounces?
Right now I'm going to do about 750 milliliters for the first one, and we're going to see how far it goes, and I'm just going to judge it for the second on how much more we need.
And we're also doing 1 layer of 17 ounce and 1 layer of 12 ounce.
Correct.
And then putting peel ply on top.
Peel ply on top. All right. So once we get mixed here, we have limited time. I mean, we probably have about I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes to do all your working before it starts to gel up. Once it starts to gel up, you really don't want to be messing with it, because you can introduce even more air bubbles. So we're going 500 milliliters of the resin and 250 milliliters of the hardener. This is going to be just enough. Good to the last drop. Alright. Good. What I did is I just bent up a welding rod into a little mixer here so we can easily mix with the drill. Alright, and I just keep it on low speed and then give it a good mixing. Yeah, listen. Look in front of me.
Things not to do.
Things not to do. Don't let the cup go when you mix it with the drill.
Don't worry, the time lapse caught it.
Well, I hope the time lapse caught it. Something caught it. This is the aftermath. Now you got to wipe up your mess because, you know,
oh my gosh,
it's sticky and horrible. All right, so what I do is we pre-wet the foam first, and usually doesn't take too much here. Just enough to kind of saturate the foam. We do want to get it out of that cup kind of as fast as we can, because the mass of the cup will heat up faster and help it cure faster. And we really don't want it to cure faster. We want time to work. So we basically just do this, and we do our best not to make a mess over the edges, because we will have to clean it up later when we do the back side of this. All right.
We found spatulas work best.
Spatulas work best. Yeah, some people use rollers. Definitely try out, you know, whatever you're feeling, really. For us, it seems to be the spatula thing. And just make sure we get over the edge here. I try to leave it a little bit thick on the bottom coat, and the reason behind it is when you're doing the fiberglass, especially the 17 ounce, it seems to be hard to saturate sometimes. And if it's sucking up resin from underneath, it makes it that much easier to saturate the top layer, you know, the layer of fiberglass. So, right. So any extra hair, I'm just going to kind of smear it out evenly across the whole thing. My nice technique back and forth there. And again, I'm making a mess. I'll clean up the bottom side later. All right, so.
Is that the 12?
This is the 17.
So 17 first.
Yep. And this is extra big. And perfect. I couldn't have done a better job if I tried.
Good job.
All right. So what I like to do is once we get the glass down, I give it a quick roll just to push any air bubbles out. Really, it helps it stick down better. Makes it a little bit easier when we're trying to do the next layers up.
You can use a spatula here too.
Yeah, spatulas work too. I just had this handy, so. Alright. And usually you can feel the edge. Okay. So that's pretty much it on that. I'll take the rest of this and just dump it out. Alright. And if you scrape your cups, totally put that in resin. Typically, if I try to scrape the cup out quick, because you get quite a bit more out of the cup. If you let it dry, sometimes you can peel it out of the cups, but we've found it's more of a hassle than it's actually worth to try to peel the resin out of the dried resin out of the cups and reuse the cups.
And honestly, the only cups that we could do that with was the TotalBoat cups.
Yeah, the Jamestown cups, yeah. All the rest of the cups end up cracking once you try it. And the biggest thing on once you get the glass down, I find if you just get it covered in resin, don't worry so much about air pockets or anything like that. Spread it out the best you can, and just let it soak in for a minute, and you'll see it'll all turn color. While it does that, I'm going to mix up my next batch. 400 milliliters of this. That'll give me 600 milliliters total. I think that'll be enough. So that's already pretty much saturated.
Yeah, it is.
And resin definitely is a sticky mess, so do your best to keep everything clean as you're going, because in the long run it's just easier to keep it clean.
Yes, it is.
Again, we've learned from
several mistakes.
Many gallons of resin. I want to say we've probably gone through, geez.
We shouldn't even say. We should have people guess and then figure it out.
Ah, there you go. Watch our videos. Give it a good guess on how many gallons of resin we go through. In a few weeks, I'll add up all the receipts and see how much I've ordered. I don't need much on the rest of this. Just on the edge here and here. Good. Maybe a touch more here. I'm just going to spread this all out. And then I'll give it a quick roll before I put the next layer down. And again, the next layer will saturate from underneath, just like this. Make sure you get all the way to the edge. And I cut all my panels 2 inches larger than we actually need. And that just kind of gives us a little bit of leeway. One, if my measurements were wrong to start with, I have room to adjust. But the biggest thing is when we're doing the resining, the fiberglassing here, it gives us a little bit of leeway. If the edge should pull up a little bit, I have 2 inches to cut off on the final cut. So it kind of really helps out quite a bit. Yes, we're wasting, but it helps out.
Yeah, and if we need to make adjustments, it's easy to do so.
Exactly, yeah. So this is all wet. So now I'm just going to take my fin roller here. The little ones seem to work better for us. It's tougher on large surfaces, but so we're just going to roll it out, and we're looking for any air bubbles. I'll see if I can find one to kind of show you on camera here. See this big air bubble right there. So you're just going to push that all the way to the edge until it pops off the edge. That's it. And you go all the way down the panel. I'm going to move kind of quick now because I still have to get another layer down. This is just a preliminary, and we will do this again once we get the final layer on here. And peel ply. But it helps to push the bubbles out from what we've seen on every layer. And again, this is just a quickie. So I got that pretty much rolled out now. I'm going to grab the second layer here, resin in the cup, and again I just want to move as fast as I can just to get everything down, and then afterwards we'll deal with any.
Nice roll.
I know, I'm getting good at this. Kind of sad. All right, and same thing, I'm just going to spread it out. I'm going to knock out any major air bubbles before I put my resin on. And again, it takes an extra a minute or so, but it saves time in the end. Alright, so that's done, and I'm just going to dump the rest of my resin out. And this should be enough to saturate everything. I'm just going to leave my cup upside down right here for now, and spread this out. And this will also, again, saturate from underneath because I left it enough down there. Just kind of work back and forth all the way down. This is almost perfect. Again, you can scrape your cup. Always scrape your cup to get a little bit more.
And with the drill, it's all fully mixed. It's not just like resin or hardener that he's scraping out.
No.
It's mixed.
They do sell a silicone mixers for paint. It might be worth looking into one of those. We don't use one personally, only because we just never really bought one. And again, any like light spots I'm seeing, I'm just filling in.
Like right here.
Oh, hopefully that's it because I don't have any more resin.
I think if you bubble
Yeah,
roll
I'll
it.
stop bubble rolling. Okay.
I see like excess right here. If you want to scrape over to this way. There you go. Perfect. 2 quarts. Oh no, what did you do? 1 quart and
1.5 quarts on this one.
Okay. Hint, hint.
This is a small sheet too. So I can pull out a lot of the bubbles. You can see them here with just the spatula. Just gotta put a little bit of pressure there behind it and just pull them, and you'll see it come out. I'll still hit this with the bubble roller after. Okay.
Looks good.
So I'm done with this now. I'm just going to knock off the excess resin. I'll wash them later with acetone. Everything gets cleaned with acetone. I'm just going to give a quick roll, and then I'll get the peel ply down. And that's another thing. There's not a lot of videos out there about. People are hit or miss on peel ply. Basically, I could leave this just like it is, roll out all the bubbles, and be done with it and fill it later. You still have this weave surface here. Yeah, I can get a close up.
Yeah, so you can see the texture in it.
Yeah, and you can fill that later on when you do the fairing. It'll fill. The peel ply, we've had hit or miss situation. Yeah.
Reviews.
Sometimes it works great, and you can get it down nice and neat, and no bubbles, nothing. Other times it wrinkles up a little bit, and you still have to do the fairing part on sections, but it's still a lot better than it is originally. So, like I say, take it or leave it.
We have it, so we're using it.
Yeah, we have it. I bought a full roll when we started the boat, so it's, at this point we're going to use it all just to use it up. And best bet is just kind of drape it down like a sheet. Bigger panels, usually Cassie will grab a side and I'll grab a side, and we'll work it like that. Just get it stuck. So you stick it down in the middle, and as you go, you can just gently tug on this, and it'll pull those wrinkles right out, right?
Yep, like I'll do it from this way right here.
Yep. And it'll pull those wrinkles out. Definitely get it stuck a little bit before you start doing that, because it'll just slide every time you go to tug on it. So you'll see, just real quick, hitting it with a roller to push it down. And the peel ply should basically be saturated just like the fiberglass, as far as I'm concerned. Some people say you should actually put another coat of resin on top of the peel ply. I personally haven't found the need to. Again, if you follow manufacturers' recommendations, they say to do that. So
we do if we have excess resin in the cup left over.
exactly, yeah. If we have a little excess resin, if we see any dry spots, we'll definitely saturate it. But we basically treat it just like fiberglass, where we saturate everything we can. As long as it looks saturated and wet, we're happy with it. And we fully intend to fair all this out anyway afterwards. So let's just start from the middle and apply a little extra pressure here and just start pulling any bubbles out. Like I said, the main thing I focus on is always getting it down first, getting it flat and saturated, and then I'll deal with the bubbles after. So you can see the bubbles clear as day there. Right, and again, you just work it all the way to the edge. Make sure you always go back, because sometimes the bubble rolls off the side of the roller as you push in. So just make sure you go back and you hit all the way around. And usually we have plenty of time to do this. We're using a slow hardener. We put hardener on the resin, so we probably have half an hour to work here, 45 minutes. I'd say 45 minutes would probably be pushing it. Yeah, too, if you have a larger panel, we usually set a timer. From the minute we start mixing resin, we'll start timers and we'll kind of follow it, so we know like we're getting close on time, like really pick up the pace, or if you're ahead of the game, you can start slowing down, taking a little bit easier here. I always try to go a couple different directions if I can, just to make sure. And again, if you can get it without wrinkles and stuff, in the end it's going to give you a better finish when you pull the peel ply off. And it does kind of suck that the peel ply is literally disposable. You're done.
One time.
Yeah, you pull it off and it's junk.
And it's expensive. For what it is.
For what it is. Obviously, if you buy quantity, if you buy a full roll, it'll probably be a little bit cheaper than buying by the yard.
And we noticed that because the foam is so porous, that bubbles do develop over time that weren't there 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, so in a few minutes you might see bubbles pop up, and I'll probably go over this again. Again, rolling it in between every layer, if you have the time, really does kind of help quite a bit when it comes to this part, because a lot of the bubbles are already gone. So and again, you can just gently, I'm not like pushing down, I'm basically just rubbing my hands against the top, and it pulls the wrinkles right out of that peel ply for you. Sorry, I gotta keep moving this way.
No worries.
Didn't do this end yet. Usually Cassie helps me on all of our panels, fiberglass, and it's easier with two people. Mm-hmm. This kind of shows it. I mean, this panel here, it can easily be done one person.
It's a small panel.
It's a small panel. You still are fighting the clock, and the extra set of hands is nice. You know.
Yeah, how you feeling? Under the gun?
Huh?
Under pressure? How you feeling?
Yeah, the camera's on. No, listen, I'm fine right now. I think we're only in at like 20 minutes or so, give or take.
I would say more. This video alone right now is at 12:54.
Yeah.
And I stopped it like 4 or 5 times, so.
Well, again, at this point, the glassing's done at this point. I'll mess with these air bubbles for a little while, just because I have time still. Obviously, definitely look at the charts for the temperatures on curing times and all that. I will fire up our heater here. Once I'm done rolling it out and I'm all happy with everything, we'll fire up the heater, let it go for a few hours, make sure it's nice and warm, and then we should be good for the night after that.
It's actually 65 in here already.
Yeah. Like I say, it's a beautiful day today. I'm more worried about tonight, overnight. That temperature might drop down a little bit. So
yeah.
if we get it warmer, it'll stay warmer longer in here without having to run the heat all night. I'm trying to think of anything else I need to say about the whole process. It's pretty much everything that we've done so far. Everything we've kind of figured out along the way.
It's fun because we have actually forgotten along the way, because before we were doing like the bigger panels and we would do them one way, and then we stopped fiberglassing for a while.
Yeah.
And then we started fiberglassing again in the winter indoors, and we like forgot what to do, kind of. And we forgot that we were rolling in between every layer.
Yeah, and it made a huge difference.
And it makes a huge difference. So.
Like, I'm still pulling air bubbles out of this. I don't know if it shows on camera if I'm pulling the wrong way, but. You'll get air bubbles for a while, and I don't know if it's because the foam's porous, if we're actually introducing them ourselves, but usually you hit a point and we're like, all right, we're satisfied with the result.
And then you keep going a little bit longer because you're not really.
Yeah. We say we finished, and So, but again, I always leave everything extra big. The foam is 2 inches big. The fiberglass is 2 inches larger than that, and it gives you plenty of room, especially when you're under the gun. To, if you're off a little bit, it doesn't matter as long as you hit the edge. So.
Okay, so that is our way.
Yeah, that's our method of fiberglass and foam core. You guys have any comments or concerns or questions? I mean, feel free to ask in the comments below. We try to respond to
every single one.
Everyone. We don't have a lot of followers right now. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It does help us out. But yeah, if you have comments, questions, feel free to ask. We'll answer them the best we can. Obviously, some stuff the manufacturer is going to tell you differently than how we do it, and by all means follow their recommendations, because if something goes wrong, you can't say, oh, I did it like this. They're not going to help you out. So, do you have any other comments on any of this? Like, any other stuff that I'm forgetting here?
I'm trying to think. I think you did a pretty good job covering.
I tried to explain everything. Tomorrow you can help me glass. That'd be nice.
Yep.
And again, see, this stuff, I might have just introduced these, and
you 100% did.
It's hard to, sometimes it's hard to, like, again, I'm just going to stop. Well, to stop, but you want to make sure you get all the air bubbles, so you keep going, and it's like, oh, I might have just introduced that air bubble, And we are going through 2 layers of glass here, so it's a little bit harder to get any bubbles out, but again, I'm still pushing bubbles out of here.
I just wanted to use my new camera. Do less.
Good? What good timing is you doing camera?
Well, usually my hands are filled with
we totally bought that camera though, so you could use it for the boat build and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like every time we go to record something, it's like more resin, more resin. So overall, the finish should be kind of a nice satin finish, and that's what we look for when we do our when we finish our peel ply. I'm happy with everything. We're not pulling any more big air bubbles out of it. So to me, that tells us we're in pretty good shape here. And yeah, that's about it. Time to clean up. Wash everything down with acetone, all your handles. Make sure you wash your drills, because it will build up over time and destroy triggers and stuff like that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, calling it. I'll show an end result at a different date.
End result at a different date. Yeah, we'll.
Is that an Easter egg?
A little Easter egg for the next owners of this boat. There probably will never be other owners of this boat.
Oh, no, I mean, you know what an Easter egg means.
What?
Videos.
Yeah, it's like a hidden thing.
Yeah.
Right? But it gets for the other owners too, right?
No.
How?